Wow, my sunburn's a lot more visible than it was in my last video. Anyway, this isn't part of my extreme marathon. This is actually a newer movie. It came out last year. Remake, reboot, actually. Wanted to see when it came out. Was gonna buy it several times, never did. It was on Hulu. I think it was like Hulu Prime, which I don't have. But it finally just got added to regular Hulu, so I finally got to see it. And in a world of remakes, reboots since 2003, where it's not really okay to like them, especially ones like this that are from a very popular series, very popular character, this is going to be controversial. And it's 2019's Child's Play. And I have to say, I actually like this film. I did. This is what I think a modern remake or reboot should be. This is everything that, maybe not Halloween, but Elm Street, like everything that Elm Street got wrong in their remake, I think this one got right. It was directed by Lars Klevberg, who I can't even click on his name, but he did direct something else recently, and I can't remember what it was. I heard what it was. I do know about it. Lars Klevberg. Why can't I remember what else he directed? And it stars Aubrey Plaza, of course, April Ludgate from Parks and Rec, and Mark Hamill as the voice of Chucky. Now, Chucky is a character like Freddy Krueger, where it's been the same actor that's played him in every film. Brad Dourif is Chucky. Brad Dourif, I love his voice, especially when he yells and swears and gets really angry. He really is that character. But they're doing something totally different with Chucky, and that's why I think a different actor is appropriate. I don't think Brad Dourif should have played this Chucky, because it is very different. It's a very similar design. It's not a good guy doll, but it doesn't do the possession voodoo route. Again, it's something very different. It's the first one ever to not be written by Don Mancini. He's written every film up until now. This was written by Tyler Burton Smith. And again, I liked this film. I thought I was just gonna say what the other guy had directed. Oh, he had directed Polaroid, which is I remember seeing a poster for it at the theater. I don't think anybody went and saw it. Nothing came of it. It's on Netflix now. It's just another stupid, I think it's PG-13, I could be wrong. It's basically Ouija, but with a fucking Polaroid camera. It looks as dumb as it sounds. And Tyler Burton Smith actually wrote that film as well. And the producers between it and Chapter 2, Seth Grahame-Smith, David Katzenberg. But anyway. Oh, and there's actually a quote by Mark Hamill. I really... Okay, so the film is... I'm going to say spoilers because it did just come out last year. But I will say, give this movie a chance. I know some people say if a remake is too different, then they don't like it. They like it to be the same story. If you ask me, you do that, then what's the fucking point? What's the point in doing it if it's the same story? Yes, one of my favorites is Hills Have Eyes, and that is very beat for beat with the original up until the third act. It created a whole third act. It makes it worth it, along with the effects of the makeup and the gore. And also, I'm seeing on Facebook fan pages that this is called trash, garbage, dumpster fire. One, it's not any of those. I don't care what anyone's opinion is, even though they're entitled to it. I've been meaning to make a video about how trash, garbage, dumpster fire, shit, or shite, as people say that too, gets thrown around way too loosely. I just want to say that real quick. Any movie that is not perfect or people just don't like, it's automatically trash. Go over to any Batman fan page and you will see if his ears are too short, the whole movie's garbage and trash. I think that's become part of our critical vernacular way too much, way too loosely. I've seen trash cinema. I've seen films that are garbage. This is not that at all. Because even if you don't like the story, you have to say it's a pretty original idea. It's not voodoo and a real life serial killer being, or at least within the context of the film, putting himself into a doll. This is a device kind of like Alexa or the other brands, in the form of it's not a good guy doll now, it's a buddy doll, and it's spelled with an I, and Chucky gives his own name. But what happens is this guy at the manufacturing company is either about to get fired or does get fired, and he fucks with the security within it. So it can pick up on swear words, it picks up on downloading stuff that normally it wouldn't. And that's how... So Chucky is pretty much this smart device that goes rogue. It just gets all fucked up. So even if you don't like that story, it's a pretty good idea, and it's a great way to do Chucky differently and in contemporary times. I mean, especially nowadays where a lot of people have stuff like that, and it's the kind of device that can hook up to your phone, your Roomba, your TV. In times like this where those are popular devices, the story works. The look of Chucky, some people hate it. I don't mind it, especially his eyes and his chest makes it look like a device. The overall look, I could say it looks like a doll. It looks like if there was an interactive device that could move its face and everything, that's probably what it would look like. As where Chucky, they're trying to kind of find that look between doll and realistic, because he does become more real the longer he's in the body. The look of the film, it has good production. I can say that. The cast does what it's supposed to. I do like Aubrey Plaza, and she is playing an April Ludgate kind of character, like a sort of sarcastic kind of character. This movie's not a comedy, but there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek in it. There's a lot of kind of over-the-top, darkly humorous stuff in it, like the kills. The kills almost borderline on Saw level. One of which actually works, and that's the first one. But I like her and her relationship with her son, who's played by, who was it? Gabriel Bateman. And they are Karen and Andy Barclay. So it, Brian Tyree Henry plays Detective Mike Norris. So they are taking the same character names as the original. They are in an apartment building, but she is a single mom, even though she does have sort of an asshole boyfriend throughout part of the film. So it's more like the Dawn of the Dead remake, really, where it takes the very basic core of the story and does something completely different. And I think it was fitting to get a different voice actor to play this Chucky, because it is a very, very, very different Chucky. And Mark Hamill, he's doing the innocent, childlike voice throughout most of the film, but when he does get more sinister, of course, I pick up on a little bit of a Joker laugh at one part, kind of a bit of a Joker voice, but I didn't mind it. I actually thought it fit. I thought he was a perfect fit for this kind of character, whether it be Chucky or otherwise. But I thought it worked. Of course, Andy, he's kind of lonely. He gets Chucky as an early birthday present, and he's all glitched out. He was supposed to be a defective return, but she gets the guy to give it to her. She's supposed to work at like a big department store, but it looks like a Dollar Tree. He does meet a couple friends that are basically, I'm guessing because of the success of Stranger Things, they're basically like Stranger Things. They're very retro interested. Like, they watch Chainsaw Massacre 2, which is sort of Chucky watching it. He absorbs the sort of killing. Then they have a Poltergeist 3 and Killer Clowns from Outer Space posters. And one of the kids does in his room. But it's basically, it kind of muddles the line of how Chucky works. Like, it does show a guy messing with its security wall or its like artificial learning security. So he does pick up on things that it's supposed to block. And Chucky is determined to be Andy's best friend. So it's like whenever the kid, like, he calls the cat a total dick, and when Chucky repeats back total dick, it sounds kind of cute and funny. But he always takes things the wrong way. And I'm going to say spoilers here. I can't remember if I did already. But, yeah, I did. You know, he kills the cat because the cat scratches Andy. He kills the abusive boyfriend because Andy talks bad about them. He's like, you know, I'm really tired of that cat. Shane, her boyfriend, is an asshole. Chucky keeps taunting Shane, like popping up and playing the recording of Shane is an asshole, Shane is an asshole. So he actually goes in Andy's room, starts pushing him around and being a dickhead. So he gets really mad, says, I hate him, wish he'll go away. And I do like the idea of how when he gets evil thoughts or intentions, his eyes go red. And this is the one, because all the deaths are over the top. It's not like he just comes up and stabs somebody. They're all very Saw level. We find out that the boyfriend is married with 2 kids, so he goes back home, gets up on a ladder to do something with Christmas lights. Chucky fucks with the ladder, so he falls, breaks his legs, turns on the garden tiller, which normally in movies you would just have the garden tiller conveniently turn itself and go near him, but it picks up the Christmas lights and it starts going after him that way. And I like how it runs over, like it starts grabbing his head and it like rips his skin completely off. Top of his hair lands on the garden gnome. And then Chucky takes his face and puts it on a watermelon, because there's watermelons outside. They have a watermelon garden near Christmas time, I guess. So you have a lot of these tongue-in-cheek kind of fun parts, like Stranger Things, where Andy and his friends are trying to dispose of this watermelon face. But Aubrey Plaza finds them because it's wrapped in birthday paper. He says it's a gift for the woman down the hall, who's the mother of the detective. So that's how we get the detective in the story. He's the one that follows up on all the cases. He does get rid of Chucky, but the creepy building maintenance guy finds him, puts a new thing in him so he can resell him. And that's when we find out he has cameras, even in the bathrooms of all the tenants. Chucky's running all around to kill him. He stands up on a table saw. It turns on and it falls on its side. He grabs a water pipe and Chucky with his finger. I guess the writer was inspired by E.T. Like the whole do anything to be his friend, even if it's wrong. His finger does glow and he'll point at things that he wants to control. So like the water temperature, he can turn up so when he holds the pipe it gets hot. He falls on the table saw. Or the detective's mom, she's gonna go to bingo and there's this smart car that's like the same brand that's linked up to all the house devices. So Chucky can control that, which he does, and causes her to wreck. Then he stabs her. You do sort of get Andy saying Chucky's real, Chucky's doing all this. No one believes him. And then at the end, they're gonna release a Buddy 2, so the store is all packed. Chucky's there. And he basically gets all the other Buddy dolls to turn evil, which I thought was not really needed, but okay. It would have been better if they had just gotten rid of the whole security wall thing. It just made it so it was like just a bad design flaw. This doll that can absorb all information, that wants to be your friend, and he just picks up all the wrong things. The one guy dressed up, he's supposed to be like the bunny doll mascot thing. Chucky stabs through the big-headed mask into his throat. So when he comes out to the crowd, he like leans down, takes the head off in front of this young girl and gushes blood all over her. Which, it's that kind of tongue-in-cheek humor that has been present in all the Child's Play and Chucky films. Not so much the first one, but the rest of them. So that kind of fits. I was thankful at the very end when Andy does destroy Chucky. He doesn't say, "This is the end, friend." But the detective shoots him and says, "This is the end." because he's about to stab Andy, and the way he gets him to stop is he sings the Buddy song. Sorry, I keep getting comments about how gross my allergies are. I'm fine until I sit in front of the camera, and then I just stuff up. I really try not to sniff or blow my nose on camera. But I have to say, I didn't mind the look of Chucky. I thought it looked more realistic as far as what he is. You know, he looked more like a doll or a device. Loved Mark Hamill's voice, even when he had that little Joker laugh in there. I really liked the idea of how, okay, it's not voodoo, it's just this sort of adaptive intelligence that more or less goes rogue, but yeah, it was a design flaw as well. It didn't bother me that they had the same character names, because it is a remake. But, you know, like Dawn of the Dead, it did something total. Zombies in a mall, but it's a very different story. And like, would it have made sense just to do the same story over again with Brad Dourif? It would have just felt like another Child's Play film. To be honest, I thought this was the best one, definitely since Child's Play 2, although I do like 3. 3 is kind of a guilty pleasure. It's better than any of the Chucky films. I can definitely say that. Yes, when I think of Chucky, I think of Brad Dourif. But I think Mark Hamill did just fine for this role. It's a very, 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 very different Chucky. So, you know, Brad Dourif can have the serial killer voodoo possessed one. Mark Hamill can have the artificial intelligence one. I guess if he does, if Lars Klevberg comes back for a sequel, he wants to explore the Buddy Bear. Because the Buddy 2, there's the regular one, a blonde one, a black one, then there's like one that looks like a teddy bear in the clothes. So I guess that's the route he's going to go. But I would rather just say this. I think they got it right. It's everything I think a remake or a reboot should be. It captured the spirit. I would say the spirit of the whole, because it did have the tongue-in-cheek while still being a horror film. Yeah, it does kind of suck. You know, the original, you had the build-up of Chucky running around in the background. You catch little glimpses of him. But here, it shows him moving around right off the bat. So you didn't really get the creep build-up or anything like that. But, you know, I still enjoyed this film. I did. It's no Invisible Man or Evil Dead or Hills Have Eyes. But it's still one that I enjoyed very much. In fact, I would probably put this in my top 10. I know I just did a top 10, but, you know, number 10 was Last House on the Left. Put this in top 10 instead. And I know people will hate it for the same reason they hate Nightmare on Elm Street. It's someone else playing him. But I really enjoyed it. At least the story was different. They changed the character enough to warrant a different actor. And the different actor did a much better job. All the characters did their part. I would say except for the Stranger Things friends. They were just, I think they were there just for laughs and to show that they're into old, like, retro things. But I'm just going to start repeating myself now. So, 2019 Child's Play, I really enjoyed as a remake. I understand why people don't. It's definitely not trash or garbage. Don't stop throwing those words around so loosely. It's definitely not trash cinema. But anyway, I liked it. Thank you for watching.